Productions are defined as an article, document, or anything, including animal, which is connected to a crime or offence or other matter under review. A warrant is an authority in writing which is issued by a magistrate, i.e. a justice of the peace, or sheriff or other competent person, directing police officers to take a course of action which might not otherwise be lawful. Evidence includes all legal means exclusive of mere argument, which tends to prove or disprove the truth of the subject before the court. Hearsay evidence. Evidence at second hand given by a person who's merely repeating something said by another person. Abettor. A person who incites, instigates, encourages, or counsels another to commit a crime or offence. Accessory. Anyone who aids the perpetrator with advice or assistance before or at the time of the crime, or who acts in concert by watching whilst the crime or offence is being committed. Assault. A crime at common law and is every attack directed to take effect physically on the person of another, whether or not actual injury is inflicted. Attempt to pervert the cause of justice. A crime at common law which can be described as any overt intentional action calculated to interfere with either the normal investigation of a crime or the bringing of an offender to justice. Breach of the peace. A crime at common law and is constituted by one or more persons conducting himself or themselves in a riotous or disorderly manner, where such conduct is severe enough to cause alarm to ordinary people and threaten serious disturbance to the community. Culpable and reckless fire raising is committed when property is set on fire as a result of a reckless act by the accused. Definition of forgery and uttering. A crime at common law and consists in the making and publishing of a writing feloniously intended to represent and pass for the genuine writing of another person. Fraud. Falsehood. False representation by word of mouth or writing or false conduct. Fraud. Intention to deceive and defraud, and willful imposition. What is required is that there was a practical result, i.e. inducing a person to do what they would otherwise not have done. House. Includes any dwelling, house, or other roofed building, finished or unfinished, or any part of a building used as separate dwelling, which is secured against intrusion by unauthorized persons. Malicious mischief. A crime at common law constituted by willful, wanton, and malicious destruction of or damage to the property of another. Offensive weapon. Includes any article made or adapted for the use of causing injury to the person or intended by the person having it, with them for such use by either themselves or by some other person. Perjury is a crime at common law committed by any person who willfully makes a false statement under oath or affirmation equivalent to oath. Principal. The person who actually commits the crime or offence. Subornation of perjury. A crime at common law committed by any person who counsels or induces by any means a person to give false testimony in judicial proceedings. Reset. A crime at common law committed by any person with intent to deprive the owner to receive and keep property knowing that it had been appropriated by theft, robbery, embezzlement, or fraud. Robbery. A crime at common law committed by any person who feloniously appropriates property by means of violence or threats of violence. Theft. A crime at common law and is the taking or appropriating of property without the consent of the rightful owner or other lawful authority. Vandalism. An offence for any person to willfully or recklessly destroy or damage the property of another without reasonable excuse. Wasting police time. A crime at common law committed by any person who maliciously makes a false statement to the police with the intention and effect of causing unnecessary police investigation. Willful fire raising. Committed when a person intentionally sets fire to any form of property. Domestic abuse. Any form of physical, verbal, sexual, psychological or financial abuse which might amount to criminal conduct and which takes place within the context of a relationship. The relationship will be between partners, married, cohabiting, civil partnership or otherwise, or ex-partners. The abuse can take place in the home or elsewhere, including online. Hate crime. Any crime which is perceived by the victim or any other person as being motivated wholly or partly by malice and ill will towards a social group. Homicide. Being committed when a human being kills another human being. The victim must be self-existent, not an unborn child, but if the child has begun to breathe, it is immaterial that the death took place before complete delivery. Missing person. Anyone whose whereabouts is unknown and, where the circumstances are out of character, or the context suggests the person may be subject to crime, or the person is at risk of harm to themselves or another. Murder. A common law crime and is committed when a person kills another without necessary cause and where there is either an intention to kill or a willful act so reckless as to show utter disregard for the consequences. Occupancy rights. The right, if in occupation, to continue to occupy the matrimonial home. If not in occupation, a right to enter into and occupy the matrimonial home. And in either case, the right to do so together with any child of the family. Disability. Physical or mental impairment that has a substantial and long-term adverse effects on a person's ability to carry out normal day-to-day activities. Discrimination. Treating someone differently, especially because of feelings or prejudice about their sex, race, religion, disability, etc. Gender reassignment. Proposing to undergo, undergoing, or having undergone any process or part of a process to change physiological or other aspects of sex. Racial group. A racial group is a group of persons defined by reference to race, and a reference to a person's racial group is a reference to a racial group into which the person falls. Race includes colour, nationality, ethnic or national origins. A religion or a belief is any religion, religious belief, or similar philosophical belief. Sexual harassment. Any form of unwanted verbal, non-verbal, or physical conduct of a sexual nature that has the purpose or effect of violating a person's dignity or of creating an intimidating, hostile, degrading, humiliating, or offensive environment for the person. Stereotyping. A prejudicial mental image held about particular groups of people which is based around false, distorted, simplified, or incomplete knowledge about that group. Alcohol. Spirits, wine, beer, cider, or any other fermented, distilled, or spirituous liquor, but does not include alcohol which is of a strength of 0.5% or less at the time of its sale. Ammunition. Any ammunition for any firearm and includes grenades, bombs, and other like missiles, whether capable of use with a firearm or not. Controlled container. A container of any description which is or was capable of holding any liquid and is made of a material which, if the container were to be thrown or propelled at a person, would cause injury to that person. Firearm. A lethal barreled weapon of any description from which any shot, bullet, or other missile can be discharged and includes any prohibited weapon, whether lethal, barreled or not, any component part of such lethal or prohibited weapon, and any accessory to such weapons which are designed or adapted to diminish the sound or flash caused by firing the weapon. Period of designated sporting event. A period which commences 2 hours before the start or advertised start and is concluded 1 hour after the event. Relevant area of a sports ground. Any part of the ground to which the spectators are granted access on payment or from which the event can be viewed directly. Driving. A person is held to be driving when they have control of the speed and direction of the vehicle. Motor vehicle. A mechanically propelled vehicle intended or adapted for use on the roads. Public road. A road which a roads authority has a duty to maintain. Road. Any way other than a waterway over which there is a public right of passage by whatever means, and whether subject to a toll or not, and includes the road's verges and any bridges, whether permanent or temporary, over which or tunnel through which the road passes, and any reference to a road includes parts thereof.